Welcome everybody to the Area 111 live stream. This is your host RH coming at you from Central Florida. I'm gonna be doing a volume check here real quick. Okay, now tonight I'm just having a kind of like an impromptu live stream, and I'm just gonna be streaming on YouTube, uh, solo on YouTube. Uh, okay, so the volume is working fine here. Yeah, I hope everybody had a safe or safe um, um, travels to their loved ones to enjoy the Thanksgiving. Today it's actually already Thursday, Thanksgiving Day, early in the morning. It's like at 12:08 a.m. in the morning for those that get up early. Go to bed early, early risers, and that kind of thing. Welcome. If you do see this, probably you'll wake up and you might see, okay, well, RH did a show last night or whatever, you know, or early this morning. But yeah, I have a different, so I'm going to be kind of like mobiling around here in this unit, and I'm basically uh, I haven't done a live stream from this location, so it's new, kind of like a traveling point, you know what I mean? So, anyways, I'm gonna grab me something to drink, a refreshment, so I won't have a Marco moment. Yeah, well, Marco's all right, so just a little bit that competition going on between Marco and President Trump when he's running for office. As if y'all may notice, there's a photograph of hey, Ken, good to see you here. Let's see what for my. I don't have sodas, but I do have a Canada Dry ginger ale for my refreshment, I guess you could call it. Kind of, it's kind of like reminds me of a hotel. You go in a hotel and you open up the fridge and sometimes they got a bar. You know what I mean? And you go in there and there's, I don't because of acid reflux. I don't drink alcohol very rarely. Last time I drank alcohol was on 4th of July, and I drank beer, and it basically it wasn't good. Wasn't good. So I have to steer away from the alcohol. But I do enjoy a soda every now and then. I've cut way back on sodas because they're not good for you. So when I was basically living in South Carolina, that's where I retired from active duty from the Air Force, 21 years, for people that are coming in. Now, I like to say hello for my friends over at Facebook because I did share the link. Hopefully, people catch on and say, well, that's little RH. He's doing a live stream, So welcome, welcome. If you don't mind, get the guy over 500 subs because I'm at like 484, and they've been, you know, don't like to talk about what happened in the past, and try to play the victim card, but a lot of us were victims. I guess you can say that. We experienced. Let's just use that terminology. Experienced a um, uh, we're experiencing this is kind of like a new method here. But anyways, yeah, we experienced a deplatforming and censorship and basically shadow banning, which what they do is, your channel doesn't go out there, right? People don't even know you're live, you know what I mean? And this channel, one time, we had thousands of viewers for single live streams. And when they deplatform me, I never got up to the 500 subs, and I was basically I was going to get 500 subs. I was on track of within just a few days. So it hovered around 450 subs on YouTube, and of course Rumble isn't that a lot of people don't like Rumble. I didn't really care for it that much when I first started live streaming both to YouTube and Rumble, but there was a lot of people that were deplatformed like myself that went over to Rumble, so I decided to go ahead and do live streams over there, you know. So, anyways, wow. So lots gone on since the last time I did a live stream. For those that are, uh, let's say, have been with this channel for the very beginning, a couple years back, or maybe 3 years now. Man, time is just really flying by, and it yeah. So I'm try to stay. I'm walking around. So yeah, if y'all hear where there's a audio problem with me walking around, um, let me know so I can just basically become stationary in one spot. Uh, this isn't my primary location, whatever, but anyways, I'd like to do the live stream and tell everybody happy Thanksgiving. Happy. I really wish y'all a happy Thanksgiving and for you and your loved ones, and I hope you really enjoy time with your family and friends. And for those out there that are blessed with a big family, um, yeah, I hope y'all really have a great time, and hopefully there's no arguments that ensue and all that stuff, and kind of like put things aside and just focus on family and Thanksgiving and giving things to remember give thanks to our heavenly Father, because without him and his son, right, we wouldn't even be here. Well, we wouldn't be here as a Christian, right? So if that makes sense. So this reminds me of the old days when I first started live streaming. I had to hold my phone in my hand. I don't have anything my equipment like I had before. But yeah, in that avatar photograph, you can see Melania Trump to the right a little bit, and then you see Trump putting a hand over the pardon the turkey. Now, what was really humorous about that, of course, that was during his first term. Um, what was hilarious about it was that you know he changed he um he modified the name of the turkey. Now the turkey's name was Cornelius. I don't know if y'all caught that or not, but President Trump, in an I mean a genius approach to that name, he changed Cornelius' name to Corny. Corny. Now, for those that don't know, they in the official, I think it was FBI communications, they basically they misspelled Comey to Corny. So it looks like Comey, but right, it's really Corny. And when they were going through the logs to find out the activities of Comey, they couldn't find his name. It wouldn't pull up in many instances where they were changing that name to from Comey to Corny. So whenever they went in the search, and I think it was in those official communications logs or whatever that they have to keep, what I mean, because it's government information. Um, yeah, they started finding certain activities with that name, Corny. So that's the reason why Trump changed that name from Cornelius to Corny, and it basically went right over a lot of people's heads. I had to watch it multiple times to make sure that's what he said. And I think the guy that supplied the turkey, he got kind of like angry that President Trump changed the name of the Cornelius, from my understanding. Now, I could be wrong, but uh, back in the day, you know, this is definitely President Trump pardoning that Thanksgiving turkey. So he can scram. What I mean, he can be set free. I don't know if they got a place for the pardoned turkeys or not, so they can live out the rest of their life, without being I don't know, defeathered. So, uh, but anyways, again, I'd like to wish everyone a very, very happy Thanksgiving and your loved ones and everything. Hopefully, I get some people in um, from from Facebook over here, and like I said, those people over on Rumble. I'm pretty sure a lot of people that follow me on Rumble too that they have my channel here on YouTube. So YouTube is now what I do like about YouTube, except from the deplatforming and censoring and throttling us back. You know, um, what I like about it is the convenience. It's very very easy platform to use, and and I think I haven't become monetized yet, but because like I said, I had to have 500 subs. I'm around 480 something, somewhere around that. Y'all could check that out for me. Far as Israeli psyops, I'm not really sure what y'all may be referring to. I don't know. Yeah, I haven't been following like current events the last few days. What's going on? Other than the shooting in DC where they basically ambushed, I think it was two National Guard troops were ambushed and they were shot at. I did listen to President Trump's speech on RSBN about the shooting, and that's horrible. For all those that lost their loved ones, or I think there was two individuals that were murdered there at the Capitol, just ambushed. I mean, just ridiculous. And I think uh, if they didn't catch the guy, they have his picture out. They know who did it. So that guy is in. I'm telling you one thing right now. He's in some serious trouble. Very serious. Very very serious. You can't get any serious than that. Well, I guess you could, but it'd be horrific. It's already horrific enough. And again, my heart and prayers goes out for all the ones that lost their loved ones in that ambush on DC. And far as President Trump goes, he ordered 500 additional National Guard troops into Washington, D.C. And he also told us the history of that individual that came in. He was flown into our country, flown in during the Biden third term administration, during the invasion time, right? 4 years of an invasion. President Trump said there's approximately 20 million people that came into our country. We don't even know who they are. And, could you think about it? 20 million people. If you just say half of them are here with bad intentions, just half of them, that's more than our entire armed forces. Think about it. Just half of the 20 million people that came in, if they're here for basically very evil purposes and they hate our country and they even worse, you know what I mean? Don't want to speak it out loud because, uh, you know, that could take down, it could take down entire other countries, smaller countries. I mean, if you think about it, if they put together, we'd have to basically combine all our police force, all our all our military, right? to basically, if it was an internal, inside kind of like plan to take down our country, it would take all our citizens would have to basically, um, and I'm not calling, listen, this is a law and order channel. I'm not calling for any type of criminal activity whatsoever. So, and I'm not glorifying violence or glorifying terrorist attacks. That's a bold faced lie. Whoever basically censored me on that one post, I wasn't glorifying it. That's ridiculous. I shared some pictures of the Operation Neptune Spear photographs, and all I shared was a picture of the compound in Pakistan, Abbottabad, Pakistan, where the attack took place, and there was two helicopters and some fires in the compound. There was no dead bodies. I wasn't glorifying the terrorist by any means. Well, it's like what RH is glorifying Bin Laden. That's all ridiculous. Something like that. When they do that to you and they defame you like that and they take you down like that, they should be liable. They should be held liable for that. And that's just my opinion. For those that know me, for uh, hey, we don't tolerate that type of language in the chat. You gotta see you later. I don't care what your opinions are. This is more like a private family like channel. You think you're smart, whatever, you're funny, whatever. I don't care if you don't like them or not, but um, uh, you have to see you out the door. I don't like that. I don't like that type of talk. You know what I mean? If you don't like the guy, whatever the people that don't like Trump, he's still your president, whether you like it or not. And might say, I even said this about Obama on certain occasions, the things that I didn't like the Fast and Furious stuff, and it caused the death of Brian Terry. One of those weapons did. And we did our own research and figured out what was going on. And as far as with Project Gunrunner, they were playing word games. Eric Holder was playing word games with Project Gunrunner uh, and Fast and Furious. So that's how they kind of like got away. But if you go in there, I actually have a recording of uh, Deputy Attorney General Hodgson when he went out there and they did a public with a press conference. I think it was done at the um, I'm not really sure if it was done at the Department of Justice but Hodgson gave the speech, and the uh, the Secretary of Homeland Security, uh, Napolitano, was there too. And they basically said, Hodgson said that the president at the time, that was in March of 2009, the president directed Operation Project Gunrunner, and they put $10 million more in funding to run those weapons basically across the border. And they fell into the wrong hands, right? The cartels, and they used those weapons against our own Border Patrol agent, Brian Terry, and they killed him with that weapon. So that's the reason why they were playing games with the title of the operation, and they were using Fast and Furious. So, Eric Kohler can play dumb, right? So, you know what I mean? So that's the games they play sometimes. I don't know Eric Holder at all, just other than some of the things that they did I didn't like when they attacked the governor of Arizona, Jan Brewer, I believe was her name, because she and her law enforcement or people, they were trying to secure their border on their own because the Biden first term, that might have been, yeah, I think that was still in this first term. They refused to basically secure our border in Arizona because they wanted, people to fill out those pieces of paper when they came across. They wanted to give them, driver licenses and all that kind of thing. So Obama and Eric Holder basically sued the government, the Arizona, uh, claiming that Jan Brewer and the law enforcement officials that were trying to secure their border and protect their own citizens, they said they were racial profiling at the border. And of course, they sent all those people over there to protest, peaceful protest there at the near the border, right, to protest them securing their own border to help keep them all safe. So now you think about it, fast forward that this guy uh, shot those two, I think it was two National Guard. I have to go in. I can't go in and look at source references now with the setup I have for tonight because this is going to be kind of like a casual conversation, impromptu. So hopefully that doesn't cause any problems. Yeah. Now, far as the taking away the families part of that, yeah, I don't like to see that happen at all, taking away families. But, you know, if you got a accompanied minor, you don't want to separate the family. So if someone came in here, they came in here, um, you know, as a parent and with their children, they came in here illegally without the right to do so. And based on the background, if they got a background on them and it's not very good, they'll deport those individuals in a unit, not to separate the families that they claim. There's certain procedures and things that they do, and it's human on a humanitarian basis as well. And it's not like they're just going in there ripping people out of their homes and stuff that are good American citizens that are doing everything they can and disrupting families and all that stuff. Come on, that's kind of like on the lines of propaganda. But I understand a lot of people have friends that came in here probably illegally, and you might not even know that they're here illegally and might not even care if they're here illegally, but they could have a problem with their background where they've committed a lot of crimes in other countries that they lived, right? And they're here, and if they act up, I mean, break the law, they're basically gonna face justice like every single one of us. Those of us that are here legally, that were born here legally or became a, a U.S. citizen based on going through the proper process. So, there's a lot of this psychological warfare operation that they set up before Trump got in office the first term is still wide open, and of course, including with the psychological warfare operation is propaganda. Remember, they took the DARPA psyops program that they were going to use on ISIS, and they turned that around on the American people. So people even that don't like Trump, people that don't even like Trump, you know, they are they're victimized by that too. They're victimized by the psyops operation and the propaganda because a lot of times if you sit there and you watch it and you haven't done your own research and it's part of the Mockingbird media scripts and what I mean, it's intel scripts being read at all the major mainstream media outlets. And when you start seeing and you switch to channels and they're all saying the exact same words about the topics that they're talking about, they're reading those topics from a script or they memorize the script and they're just reading off their memory of the scripts they're supposed to put out there. And it's very obvious that it's still going on. And where it really began, and see, this is what I don't like about when people they're so non-objective, that they don't even think about the repercussions it could have for themselves too and their family, how it could endanger people in their own home by amping these people up, amping up people they don't like Trump calling them fascists and all that. Let me just put this about far as the ridiculous notion that Trump is a fascist. How many fascists or dictators that have we learned about in history that said on inauguration day, all the way back on January 20th of let's see when was he first inaugurated? Um, uh, it was right after Obama left office, so that was he won in 2016, and that was 2017. So it'd be like January 20th, 2017. Remember in his inaugural address, he said he was going to restore the power back to the people. Now I'm paraphrasing, I'm not saying the exact same words that he used, but he was talking about the history of how the American citizens were being ripped off and everything like that. And basically, and he was going to restore the power of our country back to we the people. Now that's not fascism. Um, that's not fascism at all. And of course, calling him a Nazi, that's all part of the psychological warfare operation. And the defamatory stuff and all that other stuff that they claim he did is only to get people angered to do things that they normally wouldn't do. And especially if you got people out there that have illnesses, mental illnesses, and they hear all this stuff and nonstop barrage flooding the zone, they call it. Okay, if you go watch the Event 201 highlights reel on YouTube, it's only like 13 minutes long. Listen to the whole thing. Okay, that was in that that exercise. It was a global pandemic exercise based on the new coronavirus. That was held on October 17th of 2019. Now go in there, listen to that, and you can hear. And one of the major participants in that exercise was the former deputy director of the CIA who worked directly for John Brennan. So that's why it's important to go in there and you can get the ties to some of the things they're talking about, right? And what they're doing. And by the way, she was sitting right next to the Chinese CDC director, George Fugao, the Communist Chinese Party CDC director, that Center Disease Control Director, George Fugao. So remember that was the guy that oversaw the labs in China. That was one of his responsibilities. So sitting right next to each other, you got the Chinese guy, uh, the CDC director from the Communist Chinese Party, sitting right next to Avril Haines. Okay, who was the former deputy director of the CIA working for John Brennan. So now that exercise was actually that was on October 18th of 2019. Now, as far as the global pandemic is concerned, if you go back a day before that, on October 17th of 2019, CNN put out a Moody study from top level economists, a study. They put out they published an article. Now you can go, everybody can go do a Google search on their own to fact check RH here on this channel. Go to the CNN article, which is a Moody study. The title of that article is Democrats Need to Sharpen Their Attacks on the Trump Economy. Now, you think about that. Top level economists, they were already running the psychological warfare operation. They're prepping to basically, you know what, in 2020. And we got hindsight, perfect vision now on a lot of this stuff. We don't even need any more information. We know exactly what happened in 2020, and we knew why they used what they used to basically get all those pieces of paper. Okay, so we talked about the electronic ballot for I think it's NCLS. Go check it. National something legislative thing. Go check out the electronic ballot. Okay, electronic ballot. Go look for yourself to see how they were basically able to print a ballot offline, an official ballot, right? Offline, fill it out and email it fax or through a portal, send it back their ballot. Okay, so that was already planned. That was already planned in advance. It was like a fine-tuned military type operation. So we have to put everything we talk about as far as this goes into perspective. Now, remember how many more votes that Joe Biden got than Barack Obama did himself? Think about that. So, and then you go back to that CNN article on October 17th, 2019. The title of the is you have to do a Google search for that because it's a CNN article. Okay. Democrats need to sharpen their attacks on the Trump economy. Okay. Right after that, the very next day, October 18th, 2019, that's when they had that Event 201 global pandemic exercise based on the new coronavirus. So you have to go read that article and you know exactly what they're prepared for, right? So how they're going to censor us and all that stuff and flooding the zone with their propaganda, which is part of their psyops operation. That they got the that operation from a DARPA military project that was basically developed by DARPA. So um, I think it's Defense um, Advanced Research. Um, DARPA. I don't know what the last day, but you can look it up yourselves. DARPA. So it's where they do research and basically produce new technology and that kind of thing for as military is concerned. But they turned that around and they used it on the American people. Now, that's those people that did that, in my opinion, should have been held accountable a long time ago. Okay, my name isn't Donald Trump, so whoever you are, I don't care if you don't like him or not, whatever. He's our president. If you're here, even in our country legally, so you're not going to basically try to disturb this channel. See, that's how they do it. So whenever they come in, right, they come in and attack you because they want to disrupt your channel, right? They want to cause chaos and all that kind of thing. So, you know, these people that want to get violent, they want to break the law. They're going to be rounded up, whether we like it or not. Me, me personally, I like to have safe streets again. I enjoyed the American dream when I was a kid growing up, and it was safe for me to walk to kindergarten, even or walk down to the playground and not worried about being snatched up or whatever you see nowadays on the streets. That back then when I was growing up, there was zero tolerance for that kind of thing. Zero tolerance. So anyways. This is supposed to be a happy Thanksgiving live stream, and I don't support personal attacks on this channel. So, people have a right to their opinion. Just be courteous. You know what I mean, when you come in the chat, and don't try to take out your frustrations on Donald Trump and for most part, people don't even know who the guy is, right? And full disclosure, Donald Trump's a man. Oh my gosh, RH. He did that, he did this, he did that, he did that, right? Well, the guy makes mistakes too sometimes, right? And you think about it, all the intel he gets now, all the sources that provide him information now, I'm pretty sure he's got a pretty good grasp on what's going on around the world. Not only around the world, but of course, primarily, as far as American First goes, in our country. And he's doing as best he can. I like to refer people to the Constitution again, Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution, which says the United States shall guarantee to each state in this union a republican form of government and ensure against invasion and against domestic violence. That's the President of the United States' primary job under Article 4, Section 4 in the United States Constitution. For all those scholars out there that are all so much now uh, uh, proficient in knowing the U.S. Constitution, I never hear this brought up at all. Maybe one time from one person months ago. But that's the justification for taking people out of our country that could be dangerous, that are not supposed to be come here. We have immigration laws, and all the people that wish to come live in our country, they just got to follow the right steps. That's very simple. It's commonsensical. And if any judiciary official, any executive branch official, any legislative branch official, if any veteran or whatever is out there trying to criminally obstruct the president of the United States from conducting his official constitutional duties as it pertains to Article 4, Section 4 in our Constitution, uh, you could get yourself in some trouble. And this is really, really serious. It's not a time to play games. So you think about it. Last night or yesterday, I don't know when it was, I think it was at nighttime, 2 National Guard troops were ambushed and shot at point blank range. Now those men or men and women, I don't know. I don't know if somebody can put in the chat how many people were killed in that attack. I appreciate it. But anyways, uh, what is this channel? Israeli Ops? Is that the question? I'm trying to comprehend that question. No, I don't. I'm not working. I'm not a foreign agent, so I don't work with any other country. So I don't know why this would be a Israeli op. Maybe might be referring to the ICE stuff going on. But anyways, no, I'm not in a camper. It's like I'm traveling, like hotel type stuff. So good to see you, Ken. Yeah, yeah, you have to keep the families together because if you're talking about families, and which includes an underage child, um, you gotta, if the parent came in here illegally, they're going to send them all back to where they came from legally, and they're going to tell them how to come back into our country legally so they can apply for citizenship or green card or whatever to be here legally. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. I travel overseas. I had foreign friends and stuff like that. I served with people that were, you know, from other countries, and I won't get into all the specifics, but you know, we can't go over their countries and break the law break their other countries' foreign immigration law. We can't go into their country. Try to. I don't recommend, because this is a Law and Order channel. I'm basically saying I'm not telling people to go across the border into like Mexico or go into Central America and one of those other countries and try to break the law. No, you know, it's going to be worse off than it is here. You're not going to get a nice little place to holding facility until you're removed and get a nice little plane flight and you're fed, you know, 3 meals a day, whatever, and got a hot in a cot, for hot in a cot food. You got a place to sleep and, all that stuff. It might not be ideal what people are accustomed to. For some people, they might think it's paradise in the holding centers until they're basically deported back to where they came from. I don't know of any other country that does that. I mean, think about that, and the the amount of money that Americans are paying for to basically run the largest humanitarian operation in the history of the world right now. I don't know. Maybe that go back to World War II or something like that, as far as all the refugees. Now that could be. This might not be as large a operation, but when we're dealing with somewhere near 20 million people that came in here, and a lot of them that are bad, they're here doing things, breaking the law, hurting people, hurting children, you name it, you know, getting people killed with very deadly drugs, like fentanyl, that kind of thing. And think about how many hundreds of thousands of people have died since that invasion began on January 20th of 2021. That's when the invasion started. They were actually heading towards our border in caravans, from what I recall, like right before Biden got into office. They were already heading this way. And they basically, I guess they ordered immediately to allow all those people to come in. And they just flooded our country. And they were brought in. Okay. Now we're going to have to talk about this again real quick. Far as Acorn goes, the background on that, okay, the CNN actually put out articles and archives. The Acorn basically produced thousands of fraudulent voter registrations, and basically they got the light exposed that operation, and then it went from that operation to founded by Barack Obama and Eric Holder. It went to Organizing for Action. That put in my opinion, that's my opinion. Now, I'm not accusing anybody of doing anything wrong here. I'm just saying these are my opinions and are backed up with a lot of facts. So, Organizing for Action, in my opinion, put the boots on the ground, if you will, for like organizing um, peaceful protest. You know what I mean? And organizing that. That's what they did. Organizing for Action, organizing the so-called peaceful protests where we're watching businesses being burnt down the ground, looted, vandalized. I mean, that went on for I don't know how long. And then it went from Organizing for Action to the National Democratic Redistricting Committee. Now, the National Democratic Redistricting Committee, it's an organization founded by Barack Obama again and Eric Holder. Those are the ones, in my opinion, that helped facilitate and direct the invasion in our country for 4 years. So that was a lot of these people they brought in, they were brought in covertly. So not only was it an invasion, but simultaneously it was a foreign military and terrorist insurgency into our country for 4 years. 4 years. So I don't know why those individuals haven't been held accountable yet, because they've cost the lives of thousands, hundreds of thousands of American citizens. If we just focus on fentanyl alone that was coming across that border. And basically, they were giving these people to take part of these operations, these covert operations. They were basically flown into certain states or whatever. It could be sanctuary states, and flown into like these sanctuary cities so they could set up shop. And this is basically what we're having to deal with now. When you think about all the money, you think about all the money and all the social welfare that our senior citizens and disabled citizens are getting now, and you think about how low a lot of those amounts are, and see, it's because our our benefits are being taken over by people that aren't even supposed to be here to begin with. And there's so much fraud and criminal activity involved in all these social programs. And we like to help people. We like to help people. You know what I mean? I believe in foreign aid, but we got to get we got to get our own front yard and backyard cleaned up before we can start talking about foreign aid. You know, I know there's, as far as emergencies goes, I don't say we cut the foreign aid for example, for national disasters that happen around the world, because a lot of countries, they don't have all the assets we do. I support that type of foreign aid 100%, especially for those people, children and families that are starving around the world. There should not be a single person starving around the world, right? So I talked about this before, especially on Thanksgiving, Day today. I like to reemphasize we have churches in our country, and a lot of times they're some of these churches are only a walk away, in your neighborhoods. You can walk to a church, right? And say, "Hey, we don't have no food or whatever," or drive to a church if you have the means to drive. I know a place that a church that has a food locker or a pantry, whatever you call it. It's only about 2 miles from here. In like literally like only a few minutes of your time, you could drive there, pull up there when I think it's set up on Mondays, pull your car up there. They go up to your door to speak to the driver and ask how many people's in the family, and that's all. And they load the groceries and the food and the drinks and all that stuff into the car, and the person just drives off. No question asked. That's the type of charity that I like. No questions asked. I'm not a border patrol agent. I don't know, I don't have authority to go around and ask people for their documents or anything like that. So my my salute goes out to all those churches around our country that are doing that. Now, anybody involved in criminal activity, what I mean? So you can't be involved in that. Why don't you be a positive influence on the people that came in here illegally? Tell them how you can basically self-deport and get them to the right. Get them. Call your local sheriff. Say, I'm here. I came in. I was told to come in this way, and I don't want to get kicked out. I want to. I need help to get back to my country, and help to find. Tell me how I can come back in my country, into the United States, so I can go through the process to be here legally. Yeah. Why aren't we emphasizing that more, instead of how they use every single ICE raid, whatever? Oh, that's so bad. You don't know. We don't know these people. We don't even know who they are. Would you just open up your front door to anybody, to your home, that you don't even know? Would you just open up your front door to people you don't know? I mean, a lot of this is just common sense, but see, people get caught up in the psychological warfare operation that they turned on the American people that was supposed to be used for a terrorist organization. They turned that psychological warfare operation. And I remember the individual that basically stood behind network neutrality. So any person brings up something on the internet, they got some goofy, ridiculous theory to counter it. All that does is cause chaos, confusion, like those 6 people that came out and gave that little speech about, first of all, they implied that this current administration was doing things illegally or unconstitutionally. They made the implication of that at the beginning when they first started talking. Then they went in, they rolled into Donald Trump is putting out, making people assume to believe that Donald Trump is putting out unconstitutional orders. Now, I just read Article 4. I've read it so many times. Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution. I've read that so many times on this channel that I've memorized it. The United States guarantees to each state in the Union a Republican form of government and guarantees against invasion and against domestic violence. Okay, that's what it says in Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution. That's as far as the executive officer, the highest executive branch officer in our country is the President of the United States. And he's got a dual role. The President of the United States, and he's got the Commander-in-Chief hat, also designation. So he's following the Constitution. He's not basically invoking posse comitatus. He's invoking his Article 4, Section 4 constitutional duties, which he gave in his oath to do. So, it's just that simple to understand it. And the Mockingbird media knows exactly what I'm saying is the truth. That's the reason why they flooded the zone with everything but what it says in Article 4, Section 4. And see, they'll get on their psychological warfare operations. They got these psychiatrists that actually go out there that are being paid covertly through the Special Activities Center Political Action Group. I believe they're paid. They're on the payroll covertly to go out to these mainstream media platforms to basically spin everything negative towards Trump that you can imagine. Okay, even putting out ads during the World Series game about Trump, right? So it's kind of funny. I guess they saw the avatar photograph and I guess it triggered some trolls, whatever, to come in this channel. They don't even know who I am, and they start talking like that in the comment section. So, like I said before, this is a Law and Order channel. This host of this channel, RH, is Law and Order guy, and that's for everybody. I don't just pick and choose who I believe law and order should be for. Law and order is to protect your families, to protect your lives, okay, from criminals. That's what law and order means, to protect each and every one of us. That's why we have laws. What are our laws based on? To basically ensure morality, morals, our moral platform, what we stand for as a country, our freedom of speech, everything. Second Amendment, everything. basically being involved in the Second Amendment and doing it safely and legally, right? So all this stuff is basically really common sense. And we know who's behind this. And so they think they're going to put their soldiers on the ground and go out there and start doing this stuff. You know, I hate to say it, but there's certain people I bring in for questioning. And certain people, if they were former government officials, you could put them on a polygraph in a court of law, right? But I think a lawyer could probably fight that maybe. Um, but when we're talking about activities and the dangers that we face, the massive dangers with all these people that came in that we don't even know who they are, that were brought in to basically, you know what? They needed those pieces of paper, right? So remember, hindsight, perfect vision was 2020. That's their MO. That's what they're operating off of. And just like we said before, they're going to bring them in, give them driver license, allow them to vote in our elections. That's exactly what they've done. That's one of the reasons why New York, and I think it was New York and California, they immediately gave people, or they gave people, not immediately, but they gave people driver license of those states. And I don't know how many other states they're giving driver license, and they use the driver license to get social security cards and get benefits that they would not normally have if they came in here legally. And they're basically it's basically overtasking our social programs for people that are like disabled or the elderly or whatever, or people that have lost their jobs and are looking for employment. That's their that's their safety valve, right? That's their safety fall on for when you're going through hard times. And you got all these people basically coming in here illegally, brought in just for a lot of reasons, just for political purposes. You can even see that in the chat. That's for political purposes. A lot of these trolls coming in these channels and causing these, trying to disrupt the live streams, they're being paid to do that. I've seen this going on all the way back to 2008, all the way back to, that's when they had, it was MySpace then. It wasn't even Facebook yet. They were coming into AOL chat rooms and basically paid to basically cause a disruption, chaos, that kind of thing, right? And a lot of that, I won't go into it in much further, but I really hope and pray everybody has a wonderful Thanksgiving, everybody's safe, and again, my heart prayers goes out to the. I'm gonna see if I can do a search real quick. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if my normal followers are watching or listening to YouTube now, but if you are, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting this channel. But anyways, I thought I'd come on and so I've been on what looks like 59 minutes already. I can't believe it, already an hour. That's crazy, right? So I'm going to give this channel a thumbs up. Maybe it'll help the algorithms. I don't know. Maybe people will actually. Um, I don't have the chat displayed. I don't think I did that. Let me see if the live chat pops up. Yeah, you might have to select the live chat for it to pop up. I'm kind of glad I didn't have it because of the profanity. And like I said, I don't support personal attacks. Even if it's somebody like Barack Obama, if you got some information, talk about it. Just say, okay, it's your opinion, whatever, and you think he did something wrong. You know what I mean? And that applies for President Trump too. So other than that, so successfully connected to the live chat. Let me see if the actually chat shows up on the screen though. Okay. Okay, yeah, the if you turn on the live chat on YouTube, you can see the chat pop up on the screen. Well, again, going through some different processes here to help out individuals in my family as far as friends go, and I made a big change, a big move, and hopefully um, could use y'all's prayers too as far as that goes. You know what I mean? Um, and far as Helen, she's getting better where she can walk a little bit better, but she definitely still like to have y'all's prayers for her. In case you didn't know, on September 1st, she had a stroke, which was a mild stroke on the right side of her brain, which affected her left side where she couldn't walk on her left leg. And she's still going through therapy and that kind of thing to basically, hopefully, she can have a full and complete recovery, you know what I mean, without any type of problems like what problems that we don't have as normal people, with no ailments like that, you know what I mean? So anyways, I hope that she gets through that. She gets where she can walk enough where she don't need to be assisted, or she can walk long distances again where she doesn't need help, and hopefully she can get back up to full speed to be so she can enjoy the activities she once did before. So definitely prayers work, and I do ask for prayers sometimes, and I appreciate those that do. Anyways, with that said, I know probably people don't even know that I'm doing a live stream tonight. I started kind of late, so anyways, I'm going to go ahead and shut down the live stream unless there's anybody wants to write something in the chat. Is there something you'd like to know or something for me to cover real quick? Just put it in the YouTube chat real quick, and I can see what I can do to answer your questions. Yeah, I'm waiting to see if anybody writes anything in chat. Okay, so I'm gonna hang out here a while from now. We've been having some really great weather, but we need some rain in Florida. We're going through kind of like a drought. Grass is turning brown, and oh man, I love that green grass. So I'll be praying for rain, and um, maybe when Helen gets up to full speed, she can do a rain dance for us and get us to get some rain back in Florida. You know, I'm not much of a dancer, so anyways. Okay, everyone. So that's going to go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. Nobody had any comments. I was looking forward to having a polite, nice comment in the chat. Yeah, there was one, just a couple at the beginning from Ken. Appreciate it. Yeah, it kind of seems like that way, right? I'm in a camper. No, but I'm not in a camper. No, it's a different place. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I wish we did. They didn't have to take people out of our country. You know what I mean? I wish they came in here the right way. I wish they got the right information. And this is the thing that people that help facilitate and direct the invasion into our country, which goes against Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution, which also spurred on domestic violence all around our country. Uh, those people need to be held accountable. I don't care who they are. I don't care if it's a former president. I don't care. You think about all those indictments. I won't even go into all that. Today is supposed to be a day where we give thanks and thank and remember, give thanks to our Heavenly Father, right? Say the Lord's Prayer, maybe, or say a prayer, before you eat. And think about it. I mean, if it wasn't for our Heavenly Father, I wouldn't even be here, right? So with that said, good morning, good day, good evening, wherever you're from. This concludes the live stream. And remember, in God we trust. Everyone else, trust but verify. Good night.